Hello, my name is Juri Timoshin. I will speak in English because my Estonian is not as good as Artyom's. So I'm working for Zero Turnaround, and I'm responsible for continuous integration and automation in our company. So as a continuous integration server, we use Jenkins, and today I will speak about it. First of all, what is continuous integration? So I guess most of us should already know that it's a software developing process when developer wants to get feedback about the state of his project as soon as possible after he committed some code. So in simple words, continuous integration server should monitor your project, so looking for new commits, pushes, and as soon as he finds some changes in the code, he starts to build this project or run tests or whatever. So it depends on your configuration. So after the build is finished, continuous integration server should publish results. That can also include different test results or just simple standard output, or maybe some artifact that it was built. Good continuous integration servers have history, and that means that you can watch all the previous builds, how they finished, or all the previous test results, and Jenkins also has so-called weather, so it depends on the last 5 builds. If they are all green, then the sun is shining, everything is fine. And if some of the builds are failing, then there are some clouds in the sky, or maybe even it's rainy. So everything gives a very good transparency to your project. And maybe even several projects that are tied up together. So you can see what artifacts were built, what tests were failing, when, and for how long, and who was who you can blame for them, for example, and everything like that. So this all about not only Jenkins, but every continuous integration server, actually. So because there are many others, not very many, but there are. So Zero Turnaround last December, Zero Turnaround asked developers what continuous integration tool they were using. And 49% answered that Jenkins or Hudson. That doesn't mean that
How many
participants? I don't know. About 200 or a little bit more. So about 49% answered that it was Jenkins or Hudson they're using. Hudson is the former name of Jenkins. That doesn't mean that other continuous integration servers, TeamCity, Bamboo, Cruise Control, are somehow worse. I don't think so. But it's just Jenkins is more universal. Maybe it can suit many different tasks. The reasons why we decided to use Jenkins is that it was open source. It is very simple to download and install it and configure. And it is as it is open source, it can be easily extended. So it is very easy to write a plugin for Jenkins. Yes, as I said, it's already it's an open source project, and its author is Kazuki Kawaguchi. he started this project about 7 years ago, and now it is mostly community-driven. They're a very active community, and this is Jenkins.org is the home page of this. As already said, also it's easy to install, and what you need only is to go to the this home page, download Jenkins war from it, and run it like Java jar Jenkins war, and you have already running continuous integration server and fully operable. What also packages almost every operation system are available, such as we can see Ubuntu, Red Hat, what else? I don't know, Windows, maybe some installer for Windows. It is very extensible. There are more than 400 plugins currently, and it is a little bit also bad because among these 400 plugins, it's very hard to find exactly the one that you need right now. So I will try to give you some pointers about some of the plugins where what useful plugins we are using, for example, and what you can make use of. And as I said, it is still actively developing. Although it's 7 years old, it had already about 400 releases, and the community currently is about active committers are about 250. So everything fine about it. So numbers are very good, but what do we actually need it for? So why is Jenkins good? And without Jenkins, somehow it's bad or not so good. So let us compare life without Jenkins and with it. So if you don't have Jenkins, for example, you write some code, you commit, and you continue working. And in an hour, colleague comes to you and said that you broke the build. But before the commit, you of course check that out. You try to build it on your computer, and it was okay. It turns out that you forgot to commit a couple of new files. Yeah, happens. But you cannot commit them right away, right? Because during this working hour you already changed them, and it won't help anyone if you commit them the way they are currently. So you have to waste some time on reverting the files, and during this time, your other colleagues cannot work, and a lot of time is wasted. And for example, if you have auto tests run nightly on your project, and every morning you come to the office, you have a new email in your inbox which says all the tests has passed, hooray. So the first day, the second day you read it, and then on the third day you come, and again you have this all the tests have passed email. What do? You make a filter, of course. So then this mail will be diverted somewhere. It is very good if it's not deleted, and nobody, of course, reads this email anymore. So we have a long feedback run, and much time is wasted, and which is not very good. Life with Jenkins is a little bit better, because as soon as you commit the code, Jenkins will start building it, and you learn it in less than 5 minutes, or how much time your project should be built for. And also, if you are the one who broke the build, Jenkins will notice only you alone. So you don't have to you don't have to blush before your colleagues. Sorry, yeah, that happened. So I broke the build. So nobody even you silently quickly fix it, and nobody will even know that you were the one. Also, after the build, he runs automated tests, and also it sends email only if something is broken, and only again to that person who broke that. So we have here much less wasted time and much quicker feedback. To my mind, the biggest advantage of Jenkins is that it supports distributed builds. That means that he can run builds not only that machine that he is installed, but on any other machine that is connected to him, and he knows some information about. That means different environments. For example, Jenkins is running on Linux, but you can have Windows machines, I don't know, Mac machines also connected to them. Or maybe you can, or maybe for some project you need some kind of special isolated environment, specially configured, where any other project shouldn't be built or run. So it helps in this way, for example. So the main machine where Jenkins is installed is called master, and it stores all the important information about the projects, about the about your projects, jobs, configurations, your artifacts, log files, and so on, everything. Slaves that connect to master and run some builds are actually very simple, and they consist of a single jar that when you connect a slave to Jenkins master, it copies a single jar, which is actually just about 100 kilobytes, so it is very small. And since then, Jenkins can run builds on that machine also, and it's very good scalable because slaves do not always communicate with do not need to communicate always with the master, and just they do it from time to time. And the author of Jenkins himself, Kasuke, says that one master can work with about 100 slaves. So that is a great amount to my mind. So with 1 or 2 slaves, actually it is configuring 1 or 2 slaves, installing some software there, for example, Ant or maybe Java. It's simple. But when you have a lot of slaves, 10, 12, 100, 12, 10, 20, 20, 100, then it becomes a little bit more complex. And Jenkins tries to help us here also, for example, with labels. You can give any amount of labels to any slave, some maybe label or tag it with these labels. And then when you are creating a new job, you don't have to specify what exactly the slave name you want this project running on, but you can specify a label. So that means that this project can be run on any slave which has the same label. So, and even you can create some very not very simple, but still this Boolean I don't know. So, for example, this project which we have here can be run on Windows or Linux with 32-bit architecture and not on Fedora. So this is acceptable for project. So if you put it into the where it should run. Another thing Jenkins has is automating the tool installations. For example, if you need Java or Ant or Apache, for example, for your project to be built, he can automatically install it. But actually, I don't think it's a very good idea because if you have a lot of slaves, it will mess up actually. And it's much easier to configure your slaves beforehand with Chef or Puppet, and after that only joining the slaves with the master. So also, if you have different slaves where the project can be run, it may be so that one build is run on one slave and the other build on another. And when we see that the previous build was successful and this one is and this one failed, and we see that they are built on different machines, that means that there is possibility that there is some error not in the project but in the environment where the project was built. That's why Jenkins tries to build the project on the same slave, on the same machine he built the previous he made the previous build. So this way there is we don't need to wait for checkout once again. So the project is already checked out there, and builds are more consistent. So the environment error is there shouldn't be any environment errors. Also, he provides some slave monitoring and can automatically disconnect slaves if, for example, they have low disk space or low memory left, or maybe even clock out of sync. So there are Jenkins actually is not only for it is written. Even though Jenkins is written in Java, it's not only for Java projects, it's for every project. And when you create, when you add your project, you create a job in Jenkins. And this job can be of 3 types. So the first type is Maven job, that is only for Maven projects. Jenkins can read POM XML, and you don't have to configure maybe some things. Otherwise, you should have configured. So it gives some more automation. There is freestyle job type also. This one's used for any project, whatever you like, Java, Ruby, Python. It can be simple, maybe Bash script you need to run once in a while. So, sorry. So it's whatever you like. And the third type is a little bit different. It's a matrix job. This is very useful for similar builds that differ only very slightly. For example, you have a project that needs to be built in different environments, and the the command you build this project with is the same on every environment. Then you can take this matrix job type and then he will start building this job on the slaves you provided, and at the same time, so it will also save some time. Or maybe you have, I don't know, some tests running also on different environments or so. Or maybe you have several different parameters you should run your build with every of these parameter. So now I'll show you how Jenkins looks like and show some plugins. So as I said, Jenkins is very easy to start, and we are starting a new one with like this. So it's started doing something. And we go to our local host 8080. A little bit of waiting, and so it looks like this. So here we have the job list that we already have. Here we have some executors. These are the free executors that that run some builds. Also, if you have some slaves, they all will be here again in this list. And you can create, for example, a new job like this, simply selecting new job. So it was freestyle project, Maven, multi-configuration is matrix. And you can monitor external job, I don't know, actually never tried it. Or copy existing job, So as I'm gonna tell you about these plugins, I have all the plugins installed that I'm gonna talk about, but I will show how to install a plugin. So you go to Manage Jenkins and you have Manage Plugins. And here you have available tab, and all these plugins are available to install. Oh yes, a lot of them. Oh, but you can filter them if you need some particular Ruby, maybe some Ruby plugins. Oh, they're not so many. You just when you want to install, you just click and install without restart or download or any of two buttons, and then it automatically downloads and installs the new plugin.
Did you have any trouble plugins crashing Jenkins?
No, not yet. But for example,
it was Selenium plugin, and it periodically was crashing Jenkins. I couldn't figure it out, so.
Oh, okay. Actually, yes. There are. We didn't have Jenkins crashed by some plugin, but there were some bugs in Jenkins that were annoying us, and actually we fixed them. submitted the fix, and
is it open source and you can just
it is open. Jenkins is open source. Any plugin is an open source, and you can
recompile it.
Yes, you can recompile it and use your own Jenkins. The plugins. Back to the plugins. So as I said, you can add slaves to Jenkins, and these slaves can be not only some physical machines, but actually he supports also clouds and virtual machines. So such as Amazon, EC2, VMware, and VirtualBox. You also you have to configure them before. So you go manage Jenkins, configure system, and cloud, and add a new cloud, for example. And when you add Amazon, for example, we use Amazon EC2 for tests, and you just need to provide some of the access keys that Amazon gave you when you I don't know, when you signed up. And after that, you can also create a list of EMIs that you want to be started. And this is actually quite convenient and simple. And Jenkins starts this cloud services only when all the other possibilities, all the other executors are full. So it doesn't waste your time by starting new, or it doesn't waste your money by starting new cloud instances when he has some other executors to run these jobs on.
Does it create a new server, or does it just start an existing server, which is just?
It's from I worked only with Amazon EC2. You have some AMIs prepared, and he starts a new instance from this AMI. And after the build is over, he terminates it. So what is a very good enhancement for matrix build is a matrix reloaded plugin. We have a matrix build here, which consists of some as you see here, we have Okay, so this project can build some random numbers. So if if it can be divided by 4, then it's exit 1. Otherwise, exit 0. So, but we have some special variables here, which one is named vertical, the other is horizontal, and values. And these are the values separated by space, which this vertical can have, and these are for the horizontal. And all in all, we have 64 different builds. And once we start this build now, we have that we see that some we see that some builds are failing. But if you know that these fails are brought by maybe not by the project, but by the environment they were run in, and you don't want to rerun all the configurations once again, so that could take actually a lot of time. You can select this matrix reloaded, and yeah, nice name, and select only the configurations you want to run. So this here we can say failed. It will select all the failed ones and rebuild matrix. Now the 33rd build will be consisting only of this red. Oh, much better. And we can do it once again. Okay, so this is very useful for for making matrix jobs green. So
what's it useful for?
it allows. Otherwise, when you have a matrix job, when you hit build now button, he builds every configuration from the matrix.
Yeah, I mean, can you bring an example of these configuration variables of how they are useful in real life?
For example, in our case, we have tests that should be tests are divided in different suite 1 to suite 4. They also divided into exploded and packaged mode. And what we have is so our variables have how can I say? So we have here in the, for example, suite 1, suite 2, suite 3, suite 4, and here exploded and packaged. So all in all, total 8 builds.
And how do you use them in terminal or in build script? Do you pass it to knife, or how do you actually use them inside, I don't know, AMI or servers, or?
No, you just hit the build button.
Yeah,
Jenkins will do it itself. Jenkins will run itself on available slaves or.
Yeah, how does it know that this variable affects the configuration on the actual process?
Oh, so you can use this variable here in the shell. For example, it's by name, so vertical, yes. So for example, in Bash, it will be like that.
So this goes to some
So
machines with this variable, and then you have to write the logic yourself.
Yes. So SCM plugins. So Jenkins supports out of the box only Subversion and CVS. But actually, you can have any code. How they are called? Code management tools. I don't know. Version. Huh? Yeah. Yes. So thank you. So actually, you can work with any of them. So for example, Bazaar, Git, Mercurial, and every SCM has its own plugin, and there is one plugin that stands apart a little bit. Is a multiple SCMs plugin. And that means that when you have, for example, Git, you can provide only one repository URL. But imagine we have to download from several I don't know URLs. Then we can use multiple SCM and add even different branches to build, and one more, and for example Mercurial. So this way you can, if you need, I don't know, accumulate several different projects in your build directory and run something together on them.
Are you using Git or?
We are using Mercurial.
And is it a private repository?
Ours is private, yes.
And how are you telling the Amazon machine where to get the authentication part? Because for Git you have to install like a private key.
It's somehow configured. I don't. Well, actually, I don't remember configuring any configuring specially some private keys. It needs on our repository needs only just username and password. So there are no problems with that.
But you can provide the key of the Amazon instance. You can generate a key for that instance and give that to the repository server as a deploy key, so that the repository knows that that Amazon server is authenticated.
Okay.
Yes.
Or you
Exactly.
Or you can save it in MEI.
Yeah, that would be saved in the MEI, yes. Later. What else? A very good set of plugins that allow to build so-named pipeline. So I have already pipeline here prepared. That is pipeline showcase jobs. That means that the first job, after it finishes, it calls the second. The second calls the third A and third B. And after both of these are finished, the fourth is called. We can see it like on this. And everything is done with all this is done with these 5 plugins. So copy artifact plugin. Okay, start from this one. This plugin allows copying between the different jobs, copying the artifacts between different jobs. For example, we have a pipeline first job that creates some artifact, txt, and in the second job we can take this newly created artifact from the first job and do something with it. That is done like this. You take out in the build step menu, add build step and copy artifact from another project. Then you take this. Then you just write the name, write the artifact to copy, and that's all. It automatically does everything you need. So next thing is parameterized trigger. Parameterized trigger is used for triggering next jobs after this is finished. So after wow, demo effect. So we have a pipeline showcase 2 job, which triggers 3A and 3B after it's finished. Join plugin. A useful plugin in a case when you have some kind of similar similar job construction like this. So the number 2 job triggers 3A and triggers 2 jobs, and after that some kind of fourth ending job should be triggered, but with just a parameterized trigger plugin, this cannot be achieved because because you can set either one of those or both of them, 3A and 3B, will trigger the fourth one. But this time, but when you, for example, when you assign only 3A to trigger fourth, then the fourth can be run before 3B has finished. So it's not exactly the case you wanted. And if you said that both of them, 3A and 3B, trigger the fourth, then the fourth will be run 2 times. So when to make it so that the fourth is run only once, and the fourth is triggered after both of them, 3A and 3B, are finished, join plugin can be used. So it also actually should be configured in showcase in the second build, and it is join trigger here as post-build action. So you have here is projects to build once after all downstream projects have finished. And you said this the fourth one. Also, downstream build view. Downstream build view. So it should be somewhere here, but it's not here. Interesting. So actually, downstream build view plugin allows you to see what other jobs triggered this build. For example, this pipeline showcase 1/8 build triggered the 5th build of showcase 2, the 8th build of 3A, and so on. And there is also a good build pipeline plugin. It's a view plugin, and it shows like this pipeline like that. Ooh. So we have the first, the second, then the third A, third B triggered, and the fourth triggered in the end. So it's like more, I don't know, transparent maybe. So there are also some other useful plugins that is allow to publish some logs maybe, or some HTML files or text files. We have it here to my mind. Yes, log report, for example. So it's just a log file of build number 8 of the last build, and it is configured also like that. It's as post-build action in publish HTML reports. And another thing for isolation is very good throttle concurrent builds plugin. It allows to if you set to configure throttle concurrent plugins, you have to create some yes, you have to create some categories and assign these. Then you can assign these categories to some of the jobs you have, and you can set how many of concurrent builds can be run from one category. For example, mostly you need that only one of the category can be run on one node. For example, if these jobs use some third-party, I don't know, installed maybe server, or maybe Tomcat, for example, they share one and the same Tomcat, or some other things, then you want them not to interfere with each other, and you put them into one and the same category and set that only one of a job of this from this category can be run on one and the same node. And yeah, fun plugins, because job should be fun. And there are, yes, so we have green balls plugin. Actually, these balls are, originally these balls are blue, I don't know why, but I like the green more. And Chuck Norris plugin, So you can activate it also by post build action, activate Chuck Norris. You can activate. Yes. Oh yes, it should be activated. And then next time when you run this build, oh now you can see a Chuck Norris arrived here. Now he can divide by 0, but there should be a big picture of Chuck Norris also. It doesn't show. Maybe I don't know why. Okay, and also some meme generator. Huh?
It's busy dividing by 0.
Yeah, it's busy maybe. Yeah, and also some meme generator is almost like that, and beer plugin. So, which I will end with. Yeah, have some beer. They are also different. Oh, launching in clips. Yes. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
No questions. Everything is clear.
Nüüd võib vist eesti keeles ka rääkida.
jah, muidugi.
Tegime sulle väikese raamatu, et